Hello, this is Noel Gallagher. You're listening to Radio 1, and as part of Radio 1's 40th birthday celebrations, they've asked a few Radio 1 legends, I being one of them, to come in and present the show for an hour. So over the next hour I'm going to be playing you some of my favourite tunes of the minute, and I think we're going to get going with The Four Horsemen by Aphrodite's Child. Okay, that was The Four Horsemen by Aphrodite's Child, whose singer was that well-known Greek lardy boy, Demis Roussos. That brings back memories of being an unsigned band bumming around up north when we met a band who would subsequently go on to be called The Verve, but at this point they were called Verve, and we'd done a tour with them around some right toilets in the north of England, and we used to, afterwards, we'd be in each other's dressing rooms playing each other's tunes that we'd grown up on, and Four Horsemen was one of the ones I think that The Verve played us, and it's an amazing piece of music. It's from an album called 666, which was their psychedelic record. Everybody used to have them in the 60s and 70s, and I think a pact was made that one of us was going to rip it off as soon as we got the chance. And if you listen to the end of Rolling People by The Verve on Urban Hymns, I think it's on, you can tell that Richard got there first. This next track is by Ennio Morricone, and it's called Svolta Definitiva. was Ennio Morricone and Svolta Definitiva, whatever that means, I don't know. It's from the soundtrack of a film called Violent City. It starred Charles Bronson. It's supposed to be pretty good. I've never seen it, but there you go. And I was digging out records in the garage this morning looking for something completely different, and I found that. And I haven't heard it for years, and I put it on and I thought, you know what? Keen are going to have to wait, I think. I'm going to play some Ennio Morricone.
Radio 1.
Established 1967.
The next track is by a band called The Pretty Things, and this was recorded in 1967, just the year that Radio 1 was born. I hadn't heard this I hadn't heard it at all up until about 3 months ago, when a friend of mine who's in Kasabian sent me a CD of some stuff that he was listening to, and it completely bent my head. I spent the subsequent 3 months trying to rip it off. So when the next Oasis record comes out, but I shouldn't really be saying that, because The Pretty Things lawyers will be listening to this now, won't they? But there you go, mine are more expensive than theirs, I would have thought. But anyway, this is Barren Saturday by The Pretty Things.
Oh, Saturday. So, he'll show you games to play. He bends his mouth up to your ear. The words won't disappear. He'll take your eyes out for a ride through an eyeglass of tears is not clear. Oh, Saturday. White visions black. It's the melody. Leave the sky of milk, you're drinking silk. You lost the runcible spoon. On satin plates, young maidens wait, feeding mad in the air of the moon.
That was The Pretty Things. and Barren Saturday from an album called SF Sorrow, which is apparently the first ever fully conceived and realised concept album.
Radio 1, established 1967.
The next track I'm going to play is by a band called The Left Bank, and this was also released in 1967. And I was on tour I think it was on the BA Now tour, God rest its soul, back in the late 90s. And I was coming out of a radio station, and there was a lot of kids, and they were waving around Oasis CDs and, signing them and all that. And some guy pushed his way to the front of the crowd, and he was insistent that I had to listen to this album, which this track is taken from. It's the greatest hits, and it's called There's Gonna Be a Storm. And he was insisting that I had to listen to this band called The Left Bank because it was the greatest kind of undiscovered 60s psychedelic band. And I was thinking, what, I've come all the way to South America to be enlightened about music by you, little man with a moustache and a sombrero. I think not. And anyway, I took it back to my hotel room, and I got to say, if you can find this out, I think you can still get it somewhere. You got to go and get it because some of the music on it is incredible. But this is a song called Desiree. You're listening to Radio 1. I am Noel Gallagher from Oasis, and I've been playing not some. They asked me to come in and do play some tunes that meant something to me or influenced me, and I thought, well, you could come in and, you've all heard the stories about the Beatles and the Sex Pistols and the Stone Roses, so I didn't really want to do that. So I was kind of looking through my record collection. I'm in the middle of moving out at the minute, and I was looking through my record collection. There's kind of just stuff that I'm into at the minute. So the next track I'm going to play is a cover of I Can't Explain by The Who, and it's by some bird called Yvonne Elliman. I don't know who she is. I've never heard of her, all right? But I would like to dedicate this song to my missus, the lovely Sarah, as she's become known to all my friends, like she's some magician or something, when they introduce magicians and they call the great soprendo, they call the house the lovely Sarah, like she's I don't know, I'm a cabaret artist. But anyway, I'd like to dedicate this to my Mrs. Sarah, and after that, we're going to play some Cher. Oh, yes.
I feel hot and cold. Radio 1. Established in 1967.
Crazy. They can't see that misfortune, or else they're just too lazy. Je suis la ground zombie with my yellow shaken choice on. I ain't afraid of no tomcat. I'm gonna fill my guts with poison. I walk through the fire and I fly through the smoke. I wanna see my enemies all the end of my road. Walking pins and needles. They can do. Walk on gilded splinters with the king of the Zulu singing. Walk on gilded splinters. Walk on gilded splinters. Chalice, the pride begins to fade, and they all fear my malice. I put Greekly on your doorstep, so soon you'll be in the gutter. I make your heart melt like butter. I say I can make you stutter. Sing, come, gilly, come, walk on gilly splitters. Come, gilly, come, walk on gilly splitters.
Hands up, who thought I was going to play Do You Believe in Life After Love? Quite a few of you. Sad. Well, that was Cher doing the Dr. John classic, Walk on Gilded Splinters, and before that was Yvonne Elliman doing a Who cover, Can't Explain, and that was for the lovely Sarah McDonald, as she's become known.
Radio 1, established in 1967.
Radio 1 Legends.
The next track I'm going to play is a track by My Bloody Valentine. It's remixed by Andrew Weatherall, and this is one of the reasons, I guess, why we wanted to sign to Creation Records back in the day. Because of tracks like this, they brought out this album called Keep the Faith, which had, although Creation is known for very questionable indie music, by ourselves and Primal Scream, well, they must have got involved in dance remixes at some point, because they brought out this album called Keep the Faith with like loads of dance remixes on, and there's a brilliant track on it by My Bloody Valentine called Soon, but it's remixed by Andrew Weatherall. I think I may have said that already. And it was big in the clubs in Manchester, and when Alan McGee came to see us and offered us a record deal, we thought, well, it'd be handy to be on a record label like that. So I'd actually dedicate this to Alan McGee. This is Soon by My Bloody Valentine.
Here we go.
Was Soon by My Bloody Valentine.
Radio 1.
Established 1967.
So you're listening to Radio 1. This is Noel Gallagher from Oasis. I surely don't have to say that anymore, do I? I should just say Noel Gallagher. Everyone knows who I am. I'm in that band. And Radio 1 is 40 years old this year, as am I. So really, if you think about it, if you ever see me walking down the street, I'm actually a visual representation of how physically Radio 1 would look if it was a small child, you know, in 1967. So, and they've asked legends, you know, to come in and talk about their records and what Radio 1 means to them and that. For people of my age, what Radio 1 means is the top 40 on a Sunday, and trying to take the top 40 before David Hamilton would say something ridiculous, or, you know, what did Dave Lee Travis. And I remember the first time we came to Radio 1, I think we were being interviewed by Joe Wiley and Steve Lamacq for the evening session. And Joe Wiley, right, she had Doc Martens on. I remember that thinking, a bird in Doc Martens? I mean, how times have changed now. I mean, she's anything but a Doc Marten wearer now, isn't she, Joe? And I remember coming in, and they both had Doc Martens, and I was thinking, well, that's going to have to change, you know. We should glam this up a little bit here. Everyone looks like they're going to a festival. That's not right. But Radio 1's always been good to Oasis and me, and they've... Chris Moyles always manages to wangle it somehow that when there's a major football tournament going on, that he manages to get me and an acoustic guitar. He always manages to get Villa and do his radio show from wherever they're having the football tournament. So I've been to the last couple of European Championships and World Cups on the back of Radio 1, which is brilliant. Right, so I'm going to play a track by a guy from Liverpool called Edgar Jones, who used to be called Edgar Summertime, and he was in the band called The Stairs. Well, he's been in loads of bands. He's been in The Stairs, and he's been in a band called The Big Kids, but we loosely call him a solo artist now, and he's done a couple of albums, but I'm going to play this track off his first solo record, which is called Soothing Music for Stray Cats. And although it sounds like it was recorded in 1945, it was actually recorded about 2 years ago or 3 years ago in his bedroom on a 4-track. He's quite an incredible character, and this is called You're Gonna Have More Than You've Ever Had.
You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get used to it. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get hip real quick. You won't find it anywhere you go. You won't find it in your fancy clothes. You won't find it in the summer breeze. You'll only find it if you stick by me. You'll have more than you've ever had. You better get used to it. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get hip real quick. You won't find it in the stars above. You won't find it if you push and shove. You won't find it in the deeper sea. You only find it if you stick by me. Woo. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get used to it. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get hip real quick. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get used to it. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. You better get hip real quick. You're gonna have more than you've ever had. More than you've ever had. Yeah, you're gonna have more than you've ever had. More than you've ever had. Yeah, you're gonna have more than you've ever had. More than you've ever had. More than you've ever had.
Okay, it's Edgar Jones, just simply known as Edgar in Liverpool. That was recorded a couple of years ago. That guy gets far out, man. He gets further out than anybody else. You know, all the people in London seem to be hell-bent on pushing music forward, where those cats in Liverpool, man, they're just going further back in time. Edgar gets further back than anybody.
Radio 1.
Established 1967. Radio 1 Legends.
Right, the next track I'm going to play is by a band called Blue Seed. When I'm on the road, right, I get given tons and tons of demos. I must get 200 every tour, right? Out of the, 99.9% of them are absolute rubbish, right? And I remember being in Liverpool one night and somebody gave me a demo. Didn't have any writing on it. It had a phone number. And it was the one demo I've ever had, I think, out of about 300 or 400 demos that was any good. I managed to find out this band was called The Stands, right? And, of course, The Stands, you probably know me if you listen to Radio 1, or I don't know, you've probably heard of them. The lead singer in The Stands was a guy called Howie Payne, and it kind of struck me when I first seen them, and I've sort of become friends with him, I kind of recognised his head from somewhere, and I couldn't work it out until I was out in Ibiza on my holidays, and I was looking through my record collection there, and I pulled out this promo copy of a band called Blue Seed, and there's Howie's head on the front, and that's obviously where I knew him from. And it was given to me by what's his name? He used to be in the Boo Radleys. Remember them? Martin Carr, that's right. And he gave it to me years and years and years ago, and I've been playing it since, and it's pretty mega. But this track is called Can't Be Satisfied.
Radio 1.
Established 1967. Radio 1 Legends.
The next track, right, it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Our Liam and Liam Howlett of The Prodigy, the Liams, as they're known in our circle, they'd done a track together, and we were up at our studio in Wickham, the legendary Wheeler End Studios, and Liam had been working on this track, right, and they came up to our studio and said to me, I'll put a bass line on this track for us. I'll put some bass on it. And we were kind of in there till, 4 o'clock in the morning. As this track was taking shape, was thinking, this is amazing. Then Liam took it away and it became a bit of a techno thing and all that. And it came out on the Prodigy's last album. And I always said to him, if he'd have released this track the way that it was that we'd done it that night, I think it'd have been number one. Because it's better than the Queens of Stone Age. It's one of the best things I've ever heard him do, and Liam singing on it is amazing, and of course the bass playing is exemplary. But this is a rough mix of a track called Guns by The Prodigy. You will never have heard this before, and I was gonna phone Liam Howlett and ask him could I play it, but he probably would have said no, so I'm just gonna have to deal with this. And he's probably gonna phone me the minute this track ends, but I'll apologise to Liam and say hello to Liam. There you go. Anyway, this is Guns. by The Prodigy. You didn't hear it from me, all right?
Radio 1.
1.
Established 1967.
We're coming almost to the end now. All the stuff we've been playing is kind of old stuff, really, from the 60s and 70s and 80s. And, well, I'm going to play a current... I think it's a current single. Look at me bigging up the single. It's by Kasabian, who are my favourite band, I guess, of the last 5 or 6 years, however long they've going. And it's called Fast Fuse. And I remember before it come out, I had the pleasure of it being sung into my face by Tom Meehan, which is it's a trick he learned off Liam. But we were having a party around at our house. Actually, the funniest story about that night, we were having a party at ours, and when singers spot acoustic guitars, my heart always sinks, you know, because they're appalling guitar players. And Tom, he picked up my acoustic guitar, which was hidden like around the corner of a fireplace, right? And as he picked it up, he was going, "Can I play you some of my tunes?" And I looked at the clock, and it was 10 to 7 in the morning. So I was like, well, go ahead then. And as he sidles up beside me with this acoustic guitar, he starts strumming some chord I'd never heard of, right? It's probably N sharp or something like that. And he starts strumming this chord, and I said, "So what's this tune called?" And you know what he said? At 10 to 7 in the morning, "This is called Religion," right? Religion. So I had to stop him and say, "Tom, give us the guitar. Why don't me and you go to the kitchen and have a nice, refreshing bottle of champagne, and let's see if we can't get you a taxi to go home." Religion at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't think so. Anyway, this is Kasabian, Fast. Or if you got in late, what have you been doing anyway? I can't believe you had other things to do. You can listen to the whole show online at bbc.co.uk/Radio1. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've actually done this show physically standing on my head. It's a bit uncomfortable, but an absolute doddle, and for the life of me, I can't see why Chris Moores gets paid a fortune for doing this kind of thing, because easy peasy.